So there's been something really weighing on my mind these past few days, and it's something that I don't know how to bring up with the boys, with Roro, with Teddy, a lot of my close friends. I really think this will affect their relationship going forward. I don't care about the new Scott Waz special. Oh, I'm not gonna mention my friends in this video. Alright, before I get up in arms, I don't have anything against Scott Waz, and I never did. I consider it a great channel. Like many great channels, they have a few duds. This one being an interesting one. Ever since fall of 2018, I've been following this man's content for a while. And over time, he grew to be one of my favorite YouTube channels. The amount of editing, research, charisma, and passion as put into each one of his videos is immaculate. I hold nothing but respect for this man himself. The fact that he can still turn out hilarious episodes weekly is nothing short of admirable. So with that being said, why am I once again showing my respect for something I like by bitching about its weaker outing? Well, maybe it's my own fault for having high expectations for these specials, but when I heard this man would need 3 months just to craft this one, I was hyped. And in some respects, the special did live up to the hype.
But, and this is a big but,
I did notice flaws with this one. More glaring ones than any of its specials thus far. And that made me a tad iffy about it at first.
Get to the fucking Xeno shit!
Crossing the border.
Isn't that kind of racist?
No.
So, the plot of this special goes in a different direction than the others he's done. Instead of being about one game or about games in general, it instead tackles something else that's been in all of his videos. That's right, it's the Pepto-Bismol! While discussing every Nintendo console, Scott becomes aware that the mysterious blue boar has been haunting about his whole life. So he enlists the help of geriatrics and his friend group to help take it down. Now, to prove I'm not everything Scott makes is bullshit. Let's go over some of the good stuff. Well, for one, this episode would win FunFest because it drank that good funny water. While my first viewing I didn't laugh a whole lot, the second viewing really showed me some amazing ass moments. I still find the RPG guy to be funnier, but this ain't far behind. Scott still proves himself to be a master at dialogue-based humor, as there's some banger lines in this one.
Look, my copy has a flick wound. I mean, that says it all right there. Last owner must have hated it. Man, f this game. Oh, damn it.
Well, that's the end of Donkey Kong.
Maybe a cold washcloth will revitalize you. Nope, it's not wet enough.
Man, you know, I've never met somebody who's fucking stupid before.
We're not crazy, you're just We're not crazy, you're just
Listen, Hector, heck. May I call you Hell?
May I call you There's a big blue border that's gonna eat you. Get off my show.
Hey guys, I made us Baconators.
That's a fucking whopper! Ugh!
Please up more.
I especially like how I wrote Jack's character, as it made the cameo feel seamless, like he could really be in the universe, even when they're in 2 different rooms. Especially the first one when he goes over video game YouTuber tropes. It manages to both be a fun satire to cliches, while also having just the right amount of self-awareness. I also am really loving fan service here. It's not too in your face, and supplies a great game of I Spy to alongside viewers. In fact, why don't his videos have one of those all the references in this type content?
Huh. I was wrong.
Also, Rex and Jerry are the best characters, period.
Not an opinion, it's a fact.
Glad to see him get some action here. Another great quality to the episodes are the songs. Now, God's already released some fucking bangers in the past. Imagine just for me, Parker being Christmas, and why don't you play them all being bops in their own right. And the songs here are no different. A Scott Waz musical is something I never knew I wanted, until I got one. Just the idea of Scott doing a musical is brilliant, and it's used to its fullest potential. Every song here is great in their own right. Stupid Nintendo games is definitely a highlight for me though. With its catchy beat and witty lyrics, I always catch myself replaying this one a lot. Scott has pretty much mastered the showman tune. If this, Imagine for Me and Bible Game are anything to go by. Close Again is also a great gem as well. For one of his slower paced songs, it really manages to sell it vocally. While it can be a bit dry at times, the effects and instrumentation help sell it for me. You all might as well, I feel, might have gone for a bit longer than needed, but still a catchy military tune. And We Saved the World is a great reprise, and makes me feel robbed that we didn't get one of these before. Now I yearn for the day someone makes a Man Just For Me reprise. Another aspect I have to admire are the effects. Now, these specials are already known to dazzle it up, but the amount of work that's put into this one is insane. Definitely felt like you need those extra months to prepare. The claymation, the 3D elements, and whatever the hell did for the rocket all look superb. They really helped raise the stakes for this episode, which is something Scott is always good at doing in these specials. I also like the effects on the border. It's literally a border. Overall, fantastic job here, Scott and his team. Really did yourselves here. Nice work. As for other pros, the credits were pretty nice. Lovely animations done here, and just a nice tribute to the series itself. I also again respect that he credited everyone that worked with him for every episode. Nice touch. So, with all these being said, why do I find this just to be borderline decent? Or is it just for the pun? Yes, but I have my other reasons.
So let's talk about it.
Oh boy, this is not gonna be an easy one to make. But there's just a few cons here I noticed, even in my first viewing. The most glaring of them being the filler. Mainly being in the video game reviewer cliche tape and the console rundown. Debatably the Power of the Night showdown, but more on that later. Now, that's a word that usually has a negative correlation with it. And that's where the weird part of this con comes into play. These moments, which are funny and entertaining on their own, don't really flow well with the rest of the episode. And I wouldn't mind it so much if they didn't go on for so long. Like, the console rundown segment takes up 30% of the episode, and only certain games of it are even brought up later on. And it feels like it should be its own video, but it was lazily slapped on to hear about many edits that make it flesh well with the episode. I feel like the vibe I was trying to go for here was the beginning of TV show movies. You know, when they try to set up the main character, their vibe, and just the show's vibe in general. And if that's what it was going for, that'd be pretty great. But, with those movies, they know what to skip through to get the main plot going quickly. This segment does not do that, and ends up dragging the episode down for me. And while some bits of it do relate to the plot and make comebacks, but the rest just seem like padding to me. It almost feels out of place, especially with the opening song already feeling like the perfect exposition piece. Then there are just moments I feel like just happen and don't mesh well with the narrative. Example being the Matter of the 9 Brawl. Now, that isn't to say the scene itself isn't amazing. It really is, and a blast to watch for fans of its content. But it also felt like it should have been in a different video entirely and feels shoehorned into this one. Like, you already had to throw out the blue border itself to raise the stakes of this trip. The battle is unnecessary. All these moments here just make the episode feel unorganized. Like, they could have found a way to make the blue border itself a core threat, so they had to throw a Matter 9 just to make it more interesting. Speaking of cluttered, I feel like the subplot between Jeb and Terry wasn't executed too well. And the thing is, I feel like this could have been a great subplot to a movie like this. But it doesn't feel like a subplot. It's brought up like 3 to 4 scenes and never really got its time to wrap up properly. Again, it feels like this should have been its own different video, and this feels out of place whenever it's brought up. Like, the world is literally gonna be wrapped in a border. Get perspective! And I like the idea of it. Adding a different dynamic to the duo that makes sense. But I feel like it wasn't really well paced or fit into the episode's narrative, metaphorically or otherwise. And finally, there are the cameos. Like, they're fine. There's just too many. Like, it makes sense on why they're there, except for Quentin. I don't know, but it just feels noticeably forced. Like, with other cameos he'd have, they'd at least have a line or two, a role in the episode, or are quick enough and aren't abundant. But for this, it became more noticeable that they were just cameos and nothing else. And while we're on the topic of nitpicks, Rex. I know, I just say he's a favorite character, but let me explain. Like, he is, but they just don't give him much to do. His character overall feels like he needs another trait to him, something to set him apart, other than him being the loud one. And I know this is more of a general flaw than the episode one, but as your local Rex stan, I need to speak up. He's really freaking funny as he is right now, but I feel like he can have much more. I mean, Jeb and Terry had their vegan thing, and Jerry has his therapist gags. So just give Rex a gimmick. Just something to think about moving forward. And speaking of moving forward... You know when a YouTuber says, I really wanted to like this, it was only now that I truly realized what they meant. I really want to call this special his best one yet, because in many ways it is. The effects, the comedy, the editing, all of it was on its A game. It's just that the flaws this time around are ones I cannot overlook. Mainly being the moments of pure padding in it, and just how conjumbled the whole plot feels. I really wanted to ignore them and still call this episode amazing, but I just can't. But please, if you enjoyed this one, give it all the support you can. Because even this one deserves the immense love and support it's getting so that Scott can produce high quality content like this. Just try not to have the next special be as incoherent, alright? But you know, I'd hate to end this review on a downer note, so let's talk positives. Here are my top 5 Scott the Watch specials. Rules being it must be over 20 minutes, has a higher production value than usual work. So that means no gaming mysteries, because remember, that was just an episode. So let's get to ranking.
Number 5.
A Very Matter Away Christmas. A classic on its channel. This episode was a canon definer. While the acting and delivery on certain lines could be better and overall has the least amount of spectacle, it has way too much charm for me to hate. It also introduced Wendy the boy. How could you not love it?
Oh no, I don't work here. I just love helping people.
Number 4.
A Bargain Bin Christmas. This is probably the funniest of its specials. Also one of the only ones that have all of the main cast here. Sure, it has the least going on effects-wise and probably has the weakest plot, but it's still a blast to watch. Just not one I go rewatching a whole lot.
Number 3.
You're not an RPG guy. I take it back. This is the funniest of the specials thus far. There's just way too many funny moments here to count. The song slaps, the arc Scott goes through is probably the best of his specials, and this leaves you with a great old feeling at the end. It also utilizes Rex the best.
God, I want to the economy.
Number 2.
Arcade of Nintendo, TV Brawl Ziplash. Now this is how you do the long-awaited special. It does everything an episode this much build-up should have. A great history about the game, hilarious comments that's how much he hates it, and an amazing fight scene near the end. Now this is a special that sure doesn't blow. But before we get to number 1, let's do a little recap. Number 5, A Very Matter Away Christmas. Number 4, A Bargain Bin Christmas. Number 3,
You're not an RPG guy.
and number 2, Chibi Robo Ziplash.
It's number 1.
It's awesome, baby! Remember when I said I started watching his content back in 2018? Well, this is what sold me on his channel. Sure, call it nostalgia or whatever, but it still holds up for me as a fantastic special. Great comedy, a surprisingly engaging story, a great twist in the end, and just the best action he has made to date. It will always have a special place in my heart as my favorite episode of his. See? Now how's that for showing my love for this channel? And to Scott, if you're watching this video, hope this was able unsounding you for me tearing apart your months of hard work. Also, fuck you, Lily Plant does not have bad platforming. I will fight you!